Hey guys, I didn't realize my mic was off. So now we're back on behind the scenes of Today with Pastor Jay on WNZF News Radio with the amazing Dr. Simone Gold from America Frontline Doctors. So this is our behind the scenes, and we will start our show in just one moment. So thank you for watching. I'm going to have to go and delete some stuff. As you know, my show airs on Sunday morning at 8 a.m. WNZF. So please pick it up there.
Okay. As far as I'm concerned, you ought to be on because you're like 5.
Okay.
These things ought to be on. You want to hear them there.
This is now. Let's see if I can hear my mic was off. So now we're back on. Okay, here it is. The other video. We ended it. See if I can hear my mic. Okay, close. All right, everyone. We're just
one more try.
One more try.
One more try. Not
me.
You, just
okay.
Yeah. See if she has that going. Yeah. We got everything going here. We should be fine.
Is it okay if I talk to my guest?
Oh, I can hear you
still
now.
silent?
Oh, I can.
Well, you can hear me now?
I can hear you now. Get up closer to the mic.
Dr. Simone Gold is in the house here in WNZF News Studio. News Radio.
Hello, Pastor Jarlin.
So I'm going to tell the amazing story about how I met you because it's just kind of cool.
It is a cool story.
Would you like me to step out? Sometimes I tend to put pressure on people.
Oh, no.
Was it
No.
Sean Hannity that we were just hearing?
Mm-hmm. He airs on the station.
Yeah. We gotta figure out a way to get you because you're here.
Mm-hmm.
And we got you. But Sean and you haven't figured out a way to talk at the same time. He shouldn't be on here. We got nothing yet.
Okay.
Okay, now.
Testing 1.
There's you.
There's me.
Let's see what Mary has to say out there.
Dr. Simone Gold.
You hearing her?
No, he's good there. Yeah, I can't hear her.
Oh, good. I think we're okay then.
All righty. Well,
We okay? Okay.
okay, we're good to go. Are we recording though?
And we are recording.
Oh, we are recording.
We're recording and everything.
Okay, I want to make sure I get everyone, even though I know you, Allison Wildermuth.
Hey, Dr. Dave. It's David Ayers.
Yes.
And Sherry Barnett.
All right. I think we're doing pretty good. I think we're doing okay now. We had trouble having the Sean Hannity. Do I want this wide orbit? I want it on program, and that'll do it. And the other mics are on audition. Yeah, and everything is.
I'm just grateful he came in.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Okay, good. Well, that's what we're. Yeah, we got a level, and we're.
Look who's here.
For what?
Who's here?
She's talking
No phone calls. Are we hearing
She's
something?
talking
Like?
about you. Look who's here.
Yeah, I know. All right. Yeah, I think we're. No, we get no phone calls coming in. So we're just talking.
Usually do radio.
On Wednesdays.
Well, thank you.
But the guy that does it, I can
Oh,
come in
I'm
on
glad that
listening
you
day.
did.
Just he's on his honeymoon this week.
All right. Thanks.
And
All right,
he's
bye.
came out of retirement to help me
Good.
today.
Was he verifying? Just
Yeah.
all right, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll let you know if it goes off again.
It's not going to go off. If it does, it's going to be thebomb.com.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. Thanks, guys, for watching. This is going to be fun. You let me know when you're ready, and I'm just going to go ahead and go in. And Mark is going. This is my behind the scenes, so you never know what happens here in the studio. So those that are watching me by way of social media, thank you. You can always go to my website todaywithpastorj.com or listen to me on Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. on WNZF News Radio 94.9 FM or 1550 a.m. All right. So we're going to be break right about here. Ready?
I think we're good. Let me see. Say something. Okay, that's how we
All
got to
right.
be.
I just need you guys to speak in the microphone.
Yeah.
You can pull them towards you. The best way is to do it now. Otherwise, it'll be all that creaking sound during the show.
Yeah.
All right.
We're good?
We are good.
I'm sitting next to the bomb.
Oh, well.
You are the bomb.
Well, then you're the bomb by association.
Oh, no.
Okay,
You ready?
I'm ready.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for watching Today with Pastor J. Oh, my goodness. There we go. Blah. They're listening.
What happened?
No, I can't say. I have to start over.
Okay.
Good morning. Good morning. Wake up. It is a good, beautiful, and great day here in Flagler County. And as you can tell, I am extremely excited because my guest, the best guest ever, not that we didn't have any other great best guests, but this one is just a good dear friend of mine, and I'm excited to have Dr. Simone Gold in the house.
I'm so happy to be here, Jay.
you know, I'm just excited.
Me too.
And I do have two extra co-hosts. They're sitting over there like little cheerleaders, Sherry Barnett and Allison Wildermuth. Thank you guys so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
They had some wonderful and great questions that they had for you. So, but before we get into that, people always ask me, how did you meet the great Dr. Simone Gold with America Frontline Doctors? And I always tell them the story. I was in Atlanta, minding my business, doing some stuff, and ran into you. It was that type of thing.
Yeah.
And I was able to make some arrangements for you and do a few things, but you are great. Did you know that?
My mom and dad have told me that.
What you do is amazing. So let's talk about what you do and what American Frontline Doctors is.
Yeah, so I'm a board certified emergency physician, also Stanford University educated attorney. And I started seeing so much lies, disinformation, and censorship last year that we just couldn't be silent anymore. So I was actually told not to help patients that needed my help. It had never happened to me in my career.
Are you serious?
Absolutely
They
serious.
told you to
Exactly.
stop helping patients.
Yes, exactly.
And when we say they, we're talking about other
I'll be really
physicians.
specific. So my medical director specifically told me that if I gave a medicine that I knew would help, I would be fired. The governor of California, thank God, not Governor DeSantis, governor of California, said that if doctors prescribed this medicine, they could possibly lose their license. For that reason, I was just like stunned. What is going on?
What do you do? I mean, you've taken a vow to help
Yeah, I mean, that's
and to
people ask
heal
me,
and not
how
to
is
do
it?
any harm. And
That's
it's
exactly how it started. It's exactly how it started. And I knew there had to be other doctors like me. It wasn't just me. So I just organized a lot of doctors who were ethical, honorable, intelligent people. And we decided to become a group, and we called ourselves America's Frontline Doctors because unlike the people that were making the policies, we were seeing patients every day on the front lines.
Mhm.
Again, emergency medicine, I was the one out there. I was the one you saw. Like if you had a broken hip or a heart attack or a COVID, you came and saw me. Kid with asthma, whatever it was. And then the people making policies were not looking patients in the eyes and saying, oh, I can't treat you, right? It was me. So there was no chance that I wasn't going to help people. So I found other doctors like me, and we went to Washington, D.C., and we just held a summit, and that summit ended up getting 20 million views on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and Facebook, and Twitter. And then they all together, within an hour, shut us down. So I'm told it was the most viral video all time, but then they shut it down. And
when was this
that was July 27th.
of 2020?
2020.
In the midst of this COVID stuff.
Yeah, we came forward to say a couple of things. We said, first of all, lockdowns don't work.
Well,
in fact,
welcome to
yeah,
free America. I
You
mean,
guys had
isn't
it so
Florida
much better in
great?
Florida. It's so much better in Florida. But it's so obvious that lockdowns don't work. First of all, as a lawyer, they're just unconstitutional, beginning, middle, and end, done. But in addition, they don't actually work from a scientific perspective. Early treatment does work. We spoke out against them masking the children and keeping the children out of school. We spoke out about how horrifically they were treating the elderly. They just threw away. We had governors of 5 states that just threw away our elderly nursing home people. It was incredible. So we came and spoke the truth. And I guess the truth was hard for Zuckerberg and, Bezos to hear because they shut us down.
Let's talk about these masks for a moment because I am tired of the mask. And we see our students, our children in school. I see people walking around in parks with the mask on. What's the mask for?
Yeah, so, well, it's not for keeping out a virus, that's for sure. We've had 50 years of data on masks long before COVID, and masks were never intended they're not created to keep out tiny respiratory viruses that are the size 1/1000th the size of a hair. It's ludicrous. If you want to know if you're being propagandized, look at the information that existed on the ground prior to the thing they're trying to sell you. So we had 50 years of data about surgical masks long before March 2020. That's why Fauci is on, you can find him on the YouTube videos saying masks are not relevant. They don't work against tiny respiratory viruses. And then he changed his tune later when it became politically expedient to do so. But we had years and years of data. So this virus is 0.1 micron, 1/1000th the size of a hair. The size in a surgical mask, the pore size in a surgical mask is 200 to 1,000 times bigger. I sometimes like to compare it and say it's like throwing sand at a chain link fence and hoping that's going to keep the sand up. It's just ludicrous. But from the social aspect, we're torturing these children. This is child abuse, in my opinion. And I say that, very seriously. And I say that as a mom. We've put kids who are at the restriction of adults, right? Adults could, maybe go outside, they take a walk, they have a smoke, they go to the bathroom, but kids are required to be sitting and listening to the adult in front of them 6 to 8 hours a day in a mask. The emotional trauma, the psychological trauma. And when I say emotional, what I mean is a child is being told, if you take this mask off, you can make someone else sick. What if somebody else gets sick and the child then blames himself?
That's true.
The risk of children and anxiety has gone through the roof. Anorexia has gone through the roof. Opioid addiction, for older people, alcohol abuse. I mean, it's gone through the roof. You probably met children in your own life who are scared to take off the mask.
Yes.
They're scared. What have we done?
And the younger they are, the worse it is, because they believe that they're doing something wrong if they don't have the mask on.
That's why.
And they're afraid. So much fear. But this is the CDC comes out with all these reports.
So for me,
so who are we against the CDC?
Well, you are a sentient, thinking human being created in God's image. He gave you a brain and all the data existed, and it's all available to you on Google, DuckDuckGo. You can read all the mask studies you like that existed prior to March 2020. You can hear Fauci saying it, and you have to decide yourself. If you're going to think for yourself, you're going to let someone else think for you. If someone else thinks for you, I can guarantee you they're not going to think of you. They're going to think of themselves. People have other motives. They're pretty horrific motives. What we did to the children was unconscionable.
I agree.
The children, the children are, they're afraid. I think it's actually very important that everybody, when you see a child in a mask, you look at that child and you give a really big smile. They need to have that connection, and we're depriving them of that.
It's sad. Allison, you have a question.
Actually, a comment. I'm one of the unlucky people that lost my father during this whole virus. He was in an assisted living, and it was the most painful thing of my life to watch him decline through a window.
Yeah.
And the care in the facility went down once the family members were not coming in on a regular basis. And my father did not die of COVID. He didn't have the virus, but it very much killed him. He was doing fine before they locked the doors.
I'm so glad to hear you share this painful story, because we are not talking enough about the ancillary harm. The ancillary harm was enormous. There were 150,000 cancer screenings that went missing. 40 to 50% of stroke symptoms went missing. 40 to 50% of heart attacks went missing. And the story you're telling, I've heard that over and over again. People miss their grandmother's funeral. People miss their best friend's wedding. People miss their own graduation. And the people in the assisted living homes and the nursing homes who we kept behind windows, they couldn't see their people. They couldn't get physical therapists. They couldn't get dental care. And the care does go down when family's not there keeping an eye on the staff.
It's sad, but true.
Our governors had no legal authority to do such a thing. And I'm very sorry for your loss.
Thank you. It was so difficult.
Okay, so
I'm going to say one thing that I want you to know. I'm sorry. I have
No,
to.
listen, this is your show.
The Secretary of Health in the state of Pennsylvania, Rachel Levine, was the one responsible for implementing the policy in Pennsylvania that kept people like your mother behind the window. And yet she took her own mother out of assisted living and took her to either her home or a hotel. She did exactly what she didn't let you do. She now works for Biden.
Surprise.
So here you are, all this stuff going on. You thought your hands were tied and you figured you're going to tell people the truth. And how has that impacted your life? Because I saw you, I met you in December when you kind of started some things and you were coming out, and I had an opportunity to sit beside you at dinner, and I was like, who's this fabulous lady with all these other fabulous doctors, you know, optometrists, psychiatrists, I mean, just doctors from all different types and different angles that knew that what was happening with COVID. Not saying that COVID isn't real. No one's saying that COVID isn't real, but we're saying our response to it may be just a little bit overboard.
Yeah, so for sure, COVID's real. I took care of many COVID patients. People like to say I'm something that I'm not. For sure, it's real. But it only takes out people, with rare exception, it only takes out people at or who've exceeded their life expectancy. Even over age 70, your chance of survival without any treatment at all is almost 95%. And with early treatment, comes close to 100%. So nobody should really be afraid of this thing, SARS-CoV-2. But my whole life has changed a lot since I came out publicly and spoke. First of all, I've met the most amazing, fiercest doctor warriors, honestly, lawyer warriors as well. We can get into that. But really what I do know is I speak publicly and I try to educate. And really what we're seeing is the downstream effect of a lack of a First Amendment. If we had normal free speech in our country, the way we believe we have it, none of this would have happened, because there would have been reporters reporting on these issues, reporters reporting on situations like Allison's parent. It would have righted the ship. You know, when governments go too far overboard and then you cast a light, what is sunlight is the best disinfectant, on what they're doing, the politicians managed to find a way to reverse course. None of that happened because the media was all on the side of like an elite power broker, essentially.
Well, I learned something recently that only 7% of our journalists in the news media identify as conservative. So that means 93% are liberal. So there really isn't a balancing when it comes to reporting. I also noticed, even within myself, Sherry, I had you on the show not that long ago because you were in the Capitol. We'll talk about that, come back from the break. But you were there. That show, it was censored. It was taken off of Facebook. It was taken off of, different media platforms. Because although I record, I also stream live on social media. And one day it was just gone without warning. And all Sherry was talking about was I was there and I didn't see anything. But we're going to talk about that and some of this other crazy censor stuff. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to Today with Pastor Jay. All right, so we're just going to go back in. Thank you guys for watching behind the scenes. Mark will add the music later. All right, you want to go out or come in? Oh, okay.
Now's the time. And there are people out there too.
Oh, okay. Now is the time.
That's right.
Okay.
Oh, this is really good. You're good.
She's great.
No.
She is absolutely great.
Everybody.
Let me tell you, when I met her, I was like, oh my goodness, this is just so amazing. She spoke just from her heart. All right, let me know when y'all guys are ready and I'll just go back in. You ready? Yeah. Okay. Welcome back. Welcome back. You are still listening to Today with Pastor Jay. And that's right. I am on the air and I have Dr. Simone Gold from America Frontline Doctors in the studio. She is in Flagler County. Big, huge name, bigger than, a lot of these things. That's bigger than the lies. I should say that. She's bigger than the lies. She's absolutely telling her truth and the things that she has experienced. And I have also in the studio, Sherry Barnett and Allison Wildermuth. Before the break, Sherry, I pointed out how you were at the Capitol. Did you know Dr. Gold was there too?
I heard that.
She was there and you were on my show and your experience was like, you didn't see anything. You didn't know what was going on.
Well, I saw agitators in the crowd, but yeah, no, I didn't.
And you were banned off Facebook, right? Social media or whatever you call it.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah, just for being there. And not saying that what happened on January 6th, not condoning, not saying nothing happened. But Dr. Gold, I want to talk about your experience because you were in the Capitol as well.
Yeah.
What were you doing in the Capitol?
First of all, I was an invited guest speaker. So that's actually why I was there.
You didn't storm the Capitol?
It depends what story you read. If you ask me, no, of course I didn't. It's like ludicrous. What was said afterwards had no reality, no connection to reality. Frankly, it was a lot like saying hydroxychloroquine doesn't work. That's just a lie. Like,
you had a doctor or one of your doctors were talking about how it worked and how they treated several patients with it.
Of course it works. I'm looking you in the eye. I'm telling you, I give it to a patient and then they do well, like within an hour or 6 hours. Of course it works. There's no question it works. There's more than 300 studies showing it works.
Wow.
It's 100%. Like, it's 100% true. By the way, Fauci knew that it worked because in 2005, there was an article in the Journal of Virology, and he was still the head of the NIH back then, and it showed that it worked against SARS-CoV-1, and SARS-CoV-1 and SARS-CoV-2 are 78% identical. Of course it works. It's not a debate that it works. If you think it's a debate, you've just been misled.
So it works.
100%, 100% early treatment works. Doctors have testified under oath in front of Congress, many doctors. Tens of thousands of doctors across the world are saying this. Many, many doctor organizations are saying this. 100% early treatment works. By the way, I've been saying this for months, but if you hear my voice and you're nervous about SARS-CoV-2, don't be. Get yourself a bottle of hydroxychloroquine or ivermectin. Either get it from your own doctor, you go to americasfrontlinedoctors.org, you click on the telemedicine doctor, and you get it that way. But don't be nervous about this virus. There's absolutely treatment.
Can I say something? I received my husband and I received our ivermectin in the mail.
Oh, I'm so happy for my website. Oh, that's so
Yes,
good.
we did.
Wow.
Yes, we did. The whole process took a few days from the time we talked to someone till we got our meds. Because
Wow.
I believe early treatment works.
So you just want to have it on hand just in case.
Absolutely.
Well, let's talk about this vaccine. Well, hold on. You got me saying that it's not a vaccine. I'll never forget this. She was like, no, it's some kind of treatment thing, but it's not a vaccine.
I mean, the truth is, back when I met you, it was like, I would call it like an experimental vaccine. That's not a political statement. That's actually its legal status. It's an investigational agent only. So that's what it is, legal. However, it doesn't work as our common understanding of vaccine is, which is to reduce transmission between people, to reduce incidence of hospitalization or death. It was not approved for that. It was approved for reducing symptoms only. Now, it may be shown that it does reduce transmission, but that has not yet been proven. Our problem with the vaccine at America's Frontline Doctors is that nobody should ever be coerced into taking an experimental medication. And we're seeing coercion like crazy. You were all hearing about the coercion. Thank God that your governor isn't going down that path. But in other states, not only are they allowing young kids to take it, the kids don't need the parents' consent, and they don't need the parents' approval or knowledge. They don't even need knowledge. Kids as young as 12 in San Francisco are allowed to get the shot in school without the parents even knowing.
I'm not surprised.
This has to show you that this is
There
not
are
a
a lot of
vaccine.
things going on around now that the parents have no clue about that children are doing.
But
that
I
are
think
being
the
allowed.
government is trying to step in loco parentis, right? The government is trying to say that they're the parent, not the parent. That's a communist philosophy, that the child belongs to the state. And if you believe that God ordained it such that parents are in God's stead, standing in for God and raising up that child, then you will reject this hard. They're coming after your children. And DeSantis is keeping you safe. But in other
I know.
states,
Welcome to free Florida. That's what I keep saying.
but it could be different if you had a different governor. Right?
That is true. And traveling around in all the different states, because you're on tour currently.
Yes.
And thank you again for popping into Flagler County and calling me and letting me know about the tour. But do you see the difference as you go from state to state to state?
Enormous difference. So the best states, of course, are Texas and Florida. I haven't yet been to South Dakota, and we're going to Tennessee soon. But it's horrific in California. I mean, you can't see anybody there without a mask, and the children are wearing masks all the time. People are wearing masks outdoors. They're running to get vaccines. I wanted to ask you, if you were a pregnant woman who didn't take a puff of a cigarette or didn't take a sip of wine or didn't take a bite of sushi because you were pregnant, why in God's name would you be rolling up your sleeve to take an experimental shot? And yet we're seeing that everywhere. We're seeing that everywhere. So yes, it's crazier and it's worse in other states.
Let's talk about this experimental shot, because this isn't, I don't even know what it is. I'm finding people on both sides of the aisle running to take this shot.
Right.
And I've seen people on Facebook and several of my other civic organizations, and they have a little testimony. Oh, I got the COVID vaccine. I got the shot. So I just wanted to start telling people I didn't get it.
Yeah, you should.
The peer pressure is horrific.
Right. And it's very bad. And the reason there's something else going on, because the chance of a child dying from COVID is a statistical zero. What do I mean? The CDC released numbers on May 5th, and 287 children aged 0 to 17 have died from COVID and influenza. 287 out of about 75 million. That's a statistical zero, right? Why in the world would you give your child an experimental shot of anything when you've got a statistical chance of zero? The fact that everyone's so eager to get it is a testament to peer pressure. But you can't put things in your body out of peer pressure. You have to make a reasoned decision, risk-benefit analysis. If your risk is zero, You shouldn't even be in that line to get the thing. But I understand. I've got 2 kids. They live, in the
Mhm.
real world with the social pressure.
Let's talk about the side effects, because no one's talking about the side effects anymore.
Like
Of
I know
the vaccine.
You and I spoke about that. So I've learned a lot even since you and I spoke
Yeah.
about it. The vaccines release spike proteins in your body. They release trillions and trillions of spike proteins. It turns out that the spike proteins themselves are bad for you. They're pathogenic, meaning disease causing. They cause a lot of inflammation. They attach to vascular cells. They attach to lung cells. They attach to, they go through the blood-brain barrier.
Mhm.
So we don't know what that means long-term, right?
Mm-mm.
We think that they're going to trigger autoimmune disease in a lot of people. And we don't know the effect on the fertility. And the reason we don't know is because the spike protein looks very similar to proteins in our reproductive organs. So as our body learns to get immunity to the spike protein, maybe it's going to learn to get immunity to the normal
Mhm.
proteins. And so we're just so worried. And when we know that the chance of death is a statistical 0 for young people, how could you play around with stuff like
It's
that?
crazy. I went to get a mammogram a few weeks ago, and as I was in there, the nurse said, "Hey, did you take the COVID vaccine?" I said, "No." She said, "Well, good. Read this. Apparently, your lymph nodes swell
Yeah.
and all this other stuff." My sister is a breast cancer survivor, and she goes back and forth from Florida to North Carolina to Duke Hospital. And they told her not to take the vaccine, that it re-triggers cancer in people's bodies. But no one's telling people this.
So no one is getting true risk assessment and true benefit analysis. And that's where my lawyer part of me really goes crazy.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you heard, but last week, the FDA authorized that these vaccines could be given to young people.
Yes.
Ages 12 to 15.
Oh yeah, they're talking about it here locally. In fact, I'm probably going to get a bunch of hate mail because all they talk about
Let
here
them send
in
it
Flagler
to me.
County.
Let them send it to me instead to you. Again,
Oh, I don't care. I'm used to
board
it.
certified emergency physician. I'm going to tell you, you should
Mhm.
not allow your child to have the shot. The reason is they've got a statistically 0% chance of death or serious illness
Mhm.
from the thing. And there's a lot of unknowns. When we found out that they were doing this to young people, we filed a lawsuit. The lawsuit's in Alabama. We filed it about 5 days ago, and we're trying to halt the FDA from giving this to children. We actually think it's, I mean, I don't want to say homicide, but it's unbelievably harmful to children.
So you have this lawsuit. You couldn't take it anymore.
Nope. They're hurting kids. Kids have got 80 years in front of them of most kids will have 70 years, 80 years of good health in front of them if we don't interfere with that process. And we're playing God and we think we know things we don't know. This thing is very, very new. 6 months. We don't have long-term studies. We don't have published long-term animal studies. As far as I know, we don't think they're even running concurrent animal studies right now.
We are the animals.
We are the study. The children are becoming the guinea pigs.
Oh my goodness.
Children are becoming the guinea pigs. This has never happened.
Oh, Dr. Gold, I just wanted to ask you about this. I had read in an article recently that teenagers are being diagnosed with myocarditis
Yes.
after receiving the vaccine.
Yes. This was actually in one of my papers about a month ago, even though it just hit the news a few days ago. Yes. It seems like younger people get this heart inflammation called myocarditis following the shot. Pfizer keeps trying to pretend it's not, but we knew of it at least 1 month ago. So the truth is that these spike proteins are very, very inflammatory. So they cause inflammation. So it's not surprising. The other thing that you need to know about kids have really strong, robust immune systems. So if you give them something that should cause an immune reaction, which is what this thing is supposed to do, there's going to be some kids that have an overreaction because they've got really strong immune systems. Did you heard of this story of the father and the son who are hospitalized now with blood clots? I think
I'm hearing a lot of people are getting
this is real
blood clots, brain bleeds and things like that from taking the vaccine.
The doctors, if you talk to doctors and they'll talk to you off the record, they are all saying the same thing. We don't have COVID patients. We only have vaccine injured patients. I ran into a doctor at every tour stop I go to, doctors come up to me, every single one, and they tell me, one guy told me I have 4 patients that were injured from the vaccine, 4 in the hospital, 2 in the ICU. This is every town I go to.
So what do you say to people that have already received the vaccine? Because we don't even know how to treat any of this stuff yet, because we don't even know what's going on.
First of all,
I pray for them, really.
Everything else, do not obsess about this. What's done is done, and that's it. There's going to be an unlucky few that have problems. You have none of us have any control over the big things in life, right?
That's
so
right.
Just let it go. But going forward, you should not allow yourself to be coerced into doing something that you don't think is right or that you don't feel like you've been told enough information. And for young people especially, you've got many years of life ahead of you. Don't put something in your body without knowing what it is. This is an experimental drug.
All right, don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to Today with Pastor Jay. All right, I can hear my music in my ears because I usually have breaks and stuff for music. All right, I only have about 4 to 5 minutes.
I
No,
like it.
oh no, get a lot of information. So if you guys have a question, you're gonna have to ask it fast, or you're not gonna be able to ask it.
Please talk about the tour. Please talk about the tour.
Yes, yeah. So really, I'm just gonna devote this time to that. What question do you have? We can ask her while we're live.
Oh,
But when we come back in to record, I definitely want to just let her talk about tour.
I wanted to ask about the antibody-dependent enhancement.
We don't know. We think it's actually happening now. There's a lot of deaths of older people that they're calling COVID after they get the shot. You've all heard of that.
Mhm.
Most of us doctors think that's the ADE.
I know 4 in the last
Yeah,
week.
there's too many. We get emails all the time, and there's like nurses' aides, like low-level people, and that nobody will ever listen to, but I listen to them. And they'll say the whole nursing home got vaccinated and a third of the patients are dead.
Allison, did you have a question?
Yeah. Why would you be told to get the vaccine if you've already had
Here's-
COVID and you have active antibodies?
It is your job to spread the mission that that's insane.
I don't understand.
And the way you do it is like this. You say, when you've had measles, do you need the measles shot? When you've had chickenpox, do you need the chickenpox? You've had hepatitis B, do you need the hepatitis B shot? Why are they telling you? And right now, Pfizer's now testing to give you a third booster shot. This is
Oh,
money,
yes.
money.
I met a couple
money.
yesterday and I'm going, he's like, oh yeah. And they're excited. We got to get a booster shot. I said, no, you have to get a booster shot. If I don't get COVID-19, God protected me. If I get COVID-19, God will heal me. If I die from COVID-19, I'm going to die and be with the Lord. I mean, I'm just
You got it all covered.
listen, I'm all the way around. In the meantime, I'll just call you up and get some medicine.
Exactly.
Hey, and as a breast cancer survivor
Yes.
who's gone through chemo, you really got my attention with the spike proteins
Yes.
causing inflammation, and supposedly inflammation is what can
Precursor.
cause me to
Right.
have a recurrence.
All right. Well, we
So-
gotta go back in. I only have a few minutes, so I'm gonna talk about my sponsors, and hopefully I won't forget them. Okay.
Don't you dare.
Yeah, sponsors are important.
I know. Want to give a big shout out and thank you to 500bankruptcy.com, thefloridamortgagecenter.com, and tradecoaches.org. Thank you so much for sponsoring Today with Pastor Jay. So, Dr. Gold, I'm excited. Let's talk about this tour. We got a few minutes left. Let's talk about the tour.
It's so much fun. I'm going from town to town, city to city, just bringing the truth. And we go to a lot of churches, civic organizations, whoever will host us, whoever wants to hear the tour, the uncensored truth, we call it.
Mm-hmm.
And we just bring all the facts. And then we bring the philosophy and the theory about why this is happening. And most importantly, we teach people what to do. I'm not one to just chit chat. I want to give you a call to action, what you can do. So you go to americasfrontlinedoctors.org and you'll see the tour information, or the acronym AFLDS.org. Find the location near you. We'll be in Florida for I think about another 5 to 7 days. And I hope to see everybody in earshot in Florida.
That's right. Oh, you know what? We'll just fly you back.
There you
or
go.
whatever. Are you still on a no-fly list?
So it is hard to tell, by the way, if you're on a no-fly list. You actually have to go to the airport and see. Like you buy a ticket, you go to the airport, and then you find out. The lack of information from our government is amazing.
Well, they're still spending millions of dollars on pens and pencils and screws. So, I mean, there's that.
Yeah.
Of course, there is that. So on the tour, what has been most impactful for you? Because I know, how long you've been on tour now?
Yeah, it's been almost 2 weeks.
Okay.
What has surprised me is that in every stop, people are coming up to tell me that they've had someone they know who died related to the vaccine. I actually didn't expect that it was so widespread. And I actually love interacting with people and hearing their questions. And I love like activating the citizenry. People think that there's somebody else who's coming to save them, like there's Congress coming to save them. It's not.
What
is not?
What
You
is
need to
about that?
stand
Why
up.
do people think the government? First of all, only Jesus can save you. Let me just be real about that. But why do people think the government is going to save
I
them?
think people are just hopeful that there's like a good, benign, like daddy, mommy up there who's going to help them.
No,
Well, there isn't.
it's not.
guys.
It isn't real.
Go to the school board meetings, go to the city council meetings, and people sometimes say, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. You know what? You go to americasfrontlinedoctors.org and you go to the Citizen Corps. Come join our Citizen Corps. It's spelled like Peace Corps. Citizen Corps at aflds.org. We're going to put you in touch with like-minded patriots who live in your part of the woods, and you're going to be able to take over the world and make sure that you don't have tyranny in your local neighborhood.
How about they
Citizen
think
Corps.
for themselves, become
Yeah.
independent thinkers? We have watchdog committees around here. We just make sure government need to be less government, not more government. We have to do that. Well, thank you so much for coming. It's been awesome. And I can't wait to hear what you're going to say later. That's right. That is right. Dr. Simone Gold is here in Flagler County. So thank you so much. Thank you, ladies.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on. You know what I say? Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow isn't promised. What are you going to do today? Today, you're going to go to American Frontline Doctors. You're going to go to FA, blah, 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 blah. Mark, did you hear that? Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's not promised. What are you going to do today? Today, you're going to go to aflds.org/tour. That's exactly right. You're going to hit up Dr. Simone Gold. You are going to get on this bandwagon and you're going to be involved in the process of telling the truth. God bless you and have a great day. All right.
Good job.
It's
Good
boring
job.
class.
All right, guys. That's what we do around here.
Outstanding.